Let's begin with learning how to add doctors and staff to the practice. From the list of options on the left side of your screen, click on the Settings tab and select Practice Staff. The page that opens up will have a list of doctors that have already been added to the practice. Click on the Add button at the top right corner of the screen, and in the window that pops up, you can add the name and contact details of the doctor. Here, you can also decide the level of access the doctor gets to the Ray account. As an administrator, the doctor will have access to all aspects of Ray, whereas if you select Consultant, the doctor will have limited access. This means they will not have access to billing and reports and will have access to appointments and EMR of only those patients who have appointments with them. Please ensure that the email and phone number is unique for each doctor and staff member that is added. Next, you can select the type of notifications that doctors will receive by checking on the appropriate boxes. Once all the changes are made, click Save. The new doctor's details will be reflected in the home page of Practice Staff along with the other doctors' names. In order to add a staff member besides doctor, click on the Other Staff tab at the top center of the page. Here, similar to the doctor's page, the names of all staff members will be shown. Even those members whose access has been limited to none will also be shown here. Click on the Add button and make changes the same way you did in the pop-up window for doctors. Here are 4 levels of access which can be assigned to staff members. Based on their contribution to the practice, access levels can be defined and these can also be modified later. When you set up the timings of the clinic, your Ray calendar will be configured to these timings, making it easier for you to use the calendar. Click on the Calendar option under Settings, and here you will see default appointment duration and work timings of the clinic and every doctor practicing there. There is a drop-down menu beneath Default Appointment Duration, and by selecting a time duration here, you can define the length of each booking slot visible on the calendar. This is different from the length of appointment slot that will be visible on Practo.com. If you select the Edit option at the extreme right of the screen against the name of the clinic, a pop-up window will open up and you can make changes. You can define the days of the week the clinic will be open for by checking or unchecking the boxes against the appropriate days. Some clinics are open for a few hours in the morning, closed for the afternoon, and then reopen again in the evening. If your clinic also follows similar timings, then you can designate the timings for 2 different sessions. Additionally, for instance, maybe your clinic is open only for the morning session on Wednesdays alone. You can make this clear by selecting Add More Timings option and making changes to that particular day. Once all the timings have been defined, click on Save and the new changes will be reflected under Calendar. The timings for which the clinic is not open will be grayed out in the calendar view. Let's learn about how to make changes to the communication settings. These changes are done in order to modify the type of communications that will be sent out. These settings can be configured on 2 levels, for communications to patients and communications to doctors. Let's explore the patient level settings first. Click on the Communications tab under Settings in the page that opens up. You can make all necessary changes. The default language for all SMS in English. But from the drop-down menu beneath SMS language, you can select various regional languages as well. There are different categories of communications that will be sent to the patient at each stage of the patient's interaction with the clinic. Under the appointment category, there are 3 types of confirmations, cancellations, and reminder. By checking or unchecking the boxes against SMS and email, you can select whether both either or no communication gets sent. You can also customize the SMS content by clicking the Customize button at the extreme right against each category type. You can choose to include the patient name, clinic name, appointment category, contact number, and link to online payment. There are no customization options available for email. Once you have made all necessary changes, click Save. You can customize the SMS content for confirmation, cancellation, and reminder types. For reminder, you can modify the day and time at which the reminder SMS is sent to the patients. You can either send it on the day of the appointment at 7:30 a.m. and send it a day before. For this option, you can select a custom time. The reminder SMS for preventive follow-up will be sent to a patient either if the doctor has scheduled a follow-up visit or as default for 6 months later. We will cover that in the next video. The customization option for follow-up SMS is limited to only the patient name. Next category is payment, and this is the SMS sent to the patient upon receiving a payment. There are no customization options available for this. The final communications category is wishes. You can send birthday and anniversary messages to the patients and can customize the message. This brings us to the end of patient-level communications. Now let's move on to doctor-level communications. In order to make changes to the communications that doctors receive, go to the Practice Staff tab under Settings. Here, you will have to individually edit the communication settings for each doctor. Select the Edit option from the extreme right against the doctor's name and check or uncheck the right boxes from the pop-up window that appears. Doctors have the option to receive two types of communications: daily schedule and appointments confirmation. Go to the Other Staff tab to make changes to the communication settings that staff members will receive. The only type of communication that will be sent to them is the daily schedule. Don't forget that the clinic also receives appointment made on Practo.com, and there are communications that will be sent out for these as well. If you want to edit the communication settings for notifications from Practo.com, click on the Profiles tab under Settings and check or uncheck the boxes against SMS and email for new appointment and cancel and reschedule appointments against each doctor. Next, click on Profile next to Communications and check the Instant or Call button and save changes to enable online booking and calling for each doctor. Please note that all the patient-level communications are automatically configured, whereas the doctor-level communications have to be activated by you. The pricing catalog is where all the procedures and services offered by the clinics are saved. You can set up any number of procedures from here. You can access the pricing catalog under the Settings tab. Click on the Add button at the top right corner and start typing the name of the procedure you want to add. Suggestions will appear as soon you start typing, and you can select the appropriate procedure from here. In case the procedure you want to add is not saved in the repository, the suggestion you will get is to add new procedure. Once the name of the procedure has been selected or added, you can add the cost of the procedure and tax applicable. If you want, click on Save once the addition has been made, and it will be visible on the home page of your pricing catalog. The pricing catalog will be used for creating treatment plans, billing for planned procedure at the time of fixing appointments, etc. In order to configure your printer settings, click on the Printouts option under Settings. Here you can make changes to page setup, header and footer, and save each of the changes. Under Page Setup, you can choose the type of printer, define margins, orientation and size of the pages being used for printer. The types of printer can be used are black and white or color. For black and white, any thermal or dot matrix printer can be configured, whereas for color, you can use an inkjet or laser printer. You also have the option of selecting a page type. Based on the page type, margins are automatically calculated. If the page type you are using is not mentioned among the drop-down options, you can select the Custom button and define your own configuration. For example, a right margin of 0.25 will signify that while taking a printout, 0.25 inches of space will be left blank on the right side of the page. If your stationery already has the details of the clinic printed on top, You can choose to exclude adding a header. Otherwise, you can add this information in settings. The footer can also have text on it in addition to any signature details. The preview of all changes you make will be visible at the right side as you make the changes. You can do this independently for EMR and billing. Let's now move on to learn about importing and exporting data. If you are newly using Ray and want to import all the data about patients that you already have a digital file, a Practo employee will do this for you, one time only. While setting up your Ray account, select the Import-Export option under Settings and click on the Request Import or Export button on the top right. Click the Choose File button under Upload and select the relevant file. Please ensure that all the details you want imported are in one consolidated file rather than multiple files. The acceptable file options are listed below. Once you have added the file, click on the Request Import button and your data will get imported to Ray within 21 working days. Click on the Export tab at the top in order to export your data from Ray by checking or unchecking the boxes against patients, appointments, treatments, procedure catalog, prescriptions, clinical notes, and files. Once you click the Request Export button, the data will be sent to the practice owner's email address.